What's up and what's happening, TPE fam? We're excited to come back with another special episode with marriage, money, and mindset. On this episode, we're going to be talking about sacrifices. This is something that we all have to come to grips with if we're going to truly reach a level of freedom that we want to have in our lives. I can't wait for you guys to hear and unpack what Alexis and Jared bring to the table. So without further ado, let's dive right in.
Take this mind of mine.
What's up and what's happening, TPE fam? We're back with another episode of the Pivot Experience, and we're here with MMM. And if you don't know what that means by now, that is marriage, money, and mindset. None other than Jared and Alexis here with us. Well, I'm sorry, my man JP is in the building with Alexis. And so, how are you guys doing today?
We're doing good.
Okay, doing good. How's y'all's week been? How's things been going since the last time we connected?
Another step closer to that journey, man.
It's been busy. Work.
Work. Well, I see that you guys are getting y'all's like hands dirty and getting comfortable in this content space, man. If you guys haven't followed them yet, and more importantly, if you have not subscribed to their channel, I want to get that out the way before I even plug my own. How can we connect with y'all? What's the YouTube, the Instagram, all the whole nine?
You guys follow us on YouTube, subscribe at Marriage, Money, and Mindset. Also on Instagram, same thing, Marriage, Money, and Mindset.
And I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. Why should I follow you? If I'm a young newlywed trying to figure it out, why should I come to your page, or why should I come to your channel to follow y'all?
We are on a journey to financial freedom. So we want to bring everybody on the journey who's interested in coming.
Exactly.
That's dope. So for TPE, if you're out there and if you're looking for some level of financial freedom, if you're looking to step it up in your finances, if you're looking to make a pivot in what you're doing from a financial standpoint, please follow this couple, because I believe they have some insight and some knowledge that all of us can benefit from. All of us can get better at. The TPE, as you guys know, is a mechanism for business and leadership coaching, but we also want to advocate and provide content that speaks to the whole person. And this is a large reason why that we're partnering with MMM, just to make sure that we're accounting for every piece of the puzzle as it relates to you as a leader, not only within your organizations, but in your life as well. And I believe the things that we're going to discuss today, man, we've got a topic on us today. I ain't gonna lie. It's pretty, and it might be a gut punch to some of y'all. I hope not. I don't think it's going to be. I hope we can get through this, self included. Because go ahead. What'd you say, Alexis?
I said maybe will be a gut punch.
Because I told them before we started recording, I said, I'm really in the posture of a student when it comes down to listening to you guys and just hearing y'all's methods, because they're not to say they're unorthodox, they're just not commonly exercised amongst the community that we're most familiar with. So today we're going to be talking about sacrifices. What sacrifices that they have made, or maybe they are in the trend of making, to be able to reach financial freedom. As you guys heard them say, the reason why that they're in this content space, they're doing what they're doing is to help promote financial freedom. And so as we know, any level of freedom is going to come with some level of sacrifice. Freedom ain't free for real. It's going to require something from you to give up something, to think about something a different way. And so I'm excited to hear what these guys have to bring to the table. And so I guess we'll just kick that off with what type of sacrifices are you guys making, or what sacrifices let me rewind. I'm changing the question entirely, JP. Okay, so I'm resetting the question. All right. So what are some of those preliminary beginning sacrifices that you guys made as a couple in the beginning of y'all's relationship?
So in the beginning, right? I mean, I think once we discover what it is in life that we want to go, that we're striving for, it kind of goes back to that reverse engineering, right? So we're looking at where we want to go, at least presently, where do we want to go? Because that can change as we continue to go down this journey. But with where we want to be is financially free. So we know that for a fact, that that's something that we are striving for. So what sacrifices do we have to make in order to obtain that? So once we made the decision that we wanted to be financially free, we looked at where we were at that point in time and looked at things that needed to be sacrificed. And currently, we are still sacrificing certain things, right? But that's when the decision was ultimately made. Was when we both decided we made the decision that we want to be financially free. Okay, so that's where it started, the decision, right? And it started in our mind, right? Which is actually the last episode. When y'all watch this episode, make sure you go back and watch that episode because we talk about this. We talk about the mindset, right? So yeah, definitely it starts in our minds on that journey of, you know, knowing what it is you got to sacrifice for. Because it's the thing about it is, well, what are you sacrificing for? If people want to if you have a goal that you want to obtain, you need to know what that goal is before you decide on sacrificing for it. Like that, it's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg, one of them things, right? So you have to know what it is you have in mind of sacrificing for. So for us, it was financial freedom. That's what we decided on, what we were going to sacrifice for.
And
Okay. Go ahead. No,
I,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll kind of piggyback. So, as far as the actionable steps that we took, um, we had to cut out a lot of the BS. So, um, we may have used to watch reality TV or watch more entertainment on social media or on television, listening to more radio in the car. But we just replaced those things with educational things. So instead of turning on the radio in the car, whenever we're doing a road trip, we'll turn on a podcast after it goes off, or even in the middle of it, we'll pause it and discuss what they talked about. So as we're making those little changes, it is changing our mindsets. So that's kind of where it began.
So the first true sacrifice was time. You
Right.
guys, and I think that's worth noting because that my mind didn't go there. Naturally, that makes sense, right? You got to educate yourself. You got to get familiar with what's going on. You got to take in enough information for you to make decisions on where you want to go. So that's incredible. So the number one thing you guys did was allocate time because me and my wife, me and Lindsay, we used to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta like when it first started jumping, like I mean back in the day, and then we decided not only that stuff was like kind of toxic to your mental, but it was like, man, how much time are we wasting really to these other people's lives? Like we're watching other folks, I guess, prosper, I guess, and do business ventures and do different things, and we're having commentary on their life and not focusing on our own. So I think that was very important for people to hear. Even taking the time out to listen to this podcast or listen to you guys is a step in the right direction to be able to allocate that time. Now I'm gonna ask this question. Now this question may not be as meaty as I would like for it to be, but hear me out here. What was that one thing, or has there been one thing in the process of sacrificing that was kind of like a ouch, like, ooh, I'm gonna miss that, or ooh, that I really hold on to that. Is there anything that's in y'all's journey of sacrificing, getting to this point, and it's particularly in the beginning, that made you feel that way?
There's some okay, so materialistic items. Let's talk about that. So I've obtained a few of the materialistic items that I desired at one point in time in my life, right? At one point I had an automobile that I desired to have for a while, and it wasn't until I actually obtained it that I realized, this is actually not the time for this item, right? Meaning that I'm prematurely getting this because it's all set on desire, right? And it was actually holding me back from being able to attain it the right way. And when I say the right way, is I'm referring to something else covering that expense. That's the right way to me now. Even with where we reside, that's another example. I built the home, not let's see, back in I believe 2012 before I met my wife, And again, another example of something I desire to do kind of prematurely. You know, I feel like, you know, when I go through something, I learn from it. Back to that last episode we just did, we talked about that as well, right? Sometimes, learning, it wasn't necessarily a failure. However, it was something that I learned from. And again, failure is something you learned from, right?
Mhm.
Like most people look at failure like you did the wrong thing, you were wrong. Well, no, sometimes you do things and you can consider it a failure, even though, it's a learning experience for me, right?
Yeah, you just
That's what
learn what
failures
not to
are.
do.
Yeah, well, you learn how to do it better,
Right.
right? Um, but sacrificing, man, as far as something that made me go, ouch, honestly, it's all, I mean, everything, the whole process is an ouch, to be honest, when you think about it, because like there's a lot of things we could go get right now, cash money, cash it out, but that would, defeat the whole purpose of what our, sacrifices actually for, what we're sacrificing for, which is financial freedom,
Mhm.
you know. Um, yeah, we sitting real nice, real nice right now. But it would be foolish for us to go against that grain to go get materialistic items right now, and versus getting them the way that we set out to get them. And the thing about it, man, materialistic items isn't. That's not really the goal, to be honest. It's just the fact of being like for us, financial freedom is. You mentioned it earlier, our time.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. That's to me, that's the ultimate luxury, more than any materialistic item. Because how many people do you personally know that you can say they actually have their time with the resources?
Mhm.
I'm talking about really being able to do exactly whatever they want to do, not on a fixed income. I got my time back with a fixed income. I'm talking about someone who truly has their time with the resources.
Mhm.
So to me, that's what we want, right? Um, you speak on. You want to
Well, I
speak
like
on
what he
it?
said about getting some of those items prematurely. So, to me, that's pretty big because we're not saying that we're never going to get those items again or we don't desire to have certain things or a certain lifestyle, because some of those things we still desire to have. But, like you said earlier, we just have to get smarter about how we obtain those items. So, getting assets to um, pay for all the liabilities that we want.
Right. We even, I mean, one of our videos recently we did, operating finances in the marriage. We discussed, how we allocate discretionary items, which is a very small percentage of what we bring in, So it's not until our net worth is a certain number and it throws off a certain percentage of income off of that net worth to where we can afford certain items that we want. And that's true affordability. Just because you make the money and you can pay for something doesn't mean you actually can afford that.
Hmm.
Because if we broke it down,
About
if y'all go back and
percentage.
watch that video, how much should be going to your housing, your discretionary, your food, taxes, giving, investing.
Hmm.
And so, because again, you're robbing yourself from one of those categories, if you're not allocating your money accordingly.
Okay, so for the sake of the individual who may or may not had a chance to see that episode, can you, number one, tag which episode it is, like what number episode specifically for that? And I guess because that was going to be my question, that if you could unpack, like I get its levels to it. And when you are speaking in terms of finances, when you get to a level of and speaking in percentages, I think that is translatable no matter what the dollar amount is. You could be making
Right.
50, your household income could be $50,000, or it could be $300,000. It doesn't matter if you're working off a percentage, but would you agree that there should be some maybe level of a sliding scale as it relate? And again, challenge me here. I'm just thinking out loud. Is there some type of sliding scale of like hey, at $50,000, at a median or household income of $50,000, your percentage towards housing is going to be different than your percentage towards housing at $400,000 a year. Just given like floors of where things cost and things like that. So kind of, can you speak into like, say me, if Alex is making $60,000 a year, how much should I go out to spend on a car, and how much should I earmark for just practically? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we broke it down actually. So it's episode 3, I believe, on marriage, money, and mindset. And so the question was if you were buying a car, right?
At $60,000, let's just say my income is $60,000. Should I be looking to purchase, lease? Like what is the mindset that I should have in that arena? Because again, if you're making, the old rule, and this is what you've been you grew up being told this. Hey, your car should not exceed your annual income, and like, so at or below your annual income, and then your house should be at or below triple. That was like, you grew up with that kind of. I mean, not necessarily your parents, but just that was just like, I guess, common knowledge, rule of thumb, like, and so, your spouse's red wedding ring, and this is kind of wild, like, should be like, I think it was like 3 or 5 months of income, and I'm kind of like, yo,
So,
yeah.
good,
So
man.
these
A lot
are
of
a
people
bunch.
wouldn't be buying rings then.
But here's the deal. This is a bunch of like, was it urban legends or myths that exist in the community as it relates to money. And so, just, what are y'all thoughts on that? Kind of, unpack that for us. I know y'all did it in episode 3 for sure,
Yeah.
but just for the sake of conversation, what does that look like?
So I already wrote. I just worked the math out while you're talking, right? So okay, at 60K, right? Monthly income on that would be about 5K, right? So what we allocate, I would consider a vehicle being discretionary, meaning because it's not something you must have. You just have to have a source of transportation. Okay. Some people Uber, some people take the city transportation, some people take subways. I mean, some people bike, some people walk, depending on it. Just depends on your commute, how close are you to your job, right? You're not gonna like this map, by the way. At 60K, just FYI. So at 60K, that's your annual. Monthly is 5K. Discretionary would be 15% of that, which is only 750, and that's your entire discretionary bucket. So yeah, so we're talking about $750 being all your discretionary items, not just the car. We're talking about the entire discretionary bucket.
for the month.
So
For the
give me, outside of a car, what would be the top 3 expenditures in that discretionary bucket?
I guess it varies
It
on
varies.
people
Right.
because, like for me, my discretionary, I'll make sure my hair looks nice for the most part sometimes, or my nails stay done, or whatever. I get my wax,
Well, again, it's
fast
discretionary.
food.
It's discretionary.
Yeah.
It really ultimately boils down to what that individual must have as a discretionary item.
Mhm.
I mean, but we sum that video up with, guys, you got to make more money. You got to figure out a way to make more money. You got to hustle. You got to put in extra. I mean, the thing about it is everybody has the same time, 24 hours in a day, right? Um, you must find yourself in a situation where you can actually, like a vehicle where you can obtain some money, some real money, have the ability to earn um, really way more than that. I mean, in 60 grand, I mean, if we're
Average.
talking a two-person household, man, that means 30. That means they're making 30,000 each. Like, I think we could do better than that. But again, some people are doing that. Unfortunately, I mean, it goes back to what I mentioned in that video. You got to figure out how to make more money some kind of way, because 60K, you can't really afford to live on that, in my opinion. Not in today's economy, man.
I want to know what this look is for.
Yeah.
No,
that,
so
accurate?
well, the thing is the last I looked, I think they said Texans household median income is anywhere between like 55,000 and 58,000. So that is the reality for
Yeah,
most people.
That's what I was saying.
yeah.
That's pretty average.
You
And again,
know,
you just got to understand your discretionary can't exceed 750 if you're making 60K. And I know that's not no money. That's not any money. That's not any money. But
That's where the
but
sacrifice,
that's the level you're on at 60K, guys.
right?
You got to get your money up. You got to
Anything
get your money
outside of
up.
that 15%, like you said earlier, you're robbing another one of those categories.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
most people are not investing anything. They're not paying themselves anything at all.
Yeah.
So what percentage do we have to invest in?
Well, it's 10%, right? So you're talking about $500 a month on that, 5,000 a month of monthly income. Hey man, you really not gonna like the housing is only 1,000 at 5 grand a month. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's 20%, right? Your picture went away. I don't know what happened. Oh, there you go. But yeah, man, so back to making more money, guys. You got to figure out a way to hustle up some money. If you only bring in 60K between the two of you, if y'all are a couple, um, somebody's bringing 30 and the other's bringing 30, or one's bringing,
So it doesn't
40
matter.
and
The percent
60,
is the
whatever it
percent.
is, man.
Hmm.
You got to
so the
make more.
percent is fixed, no matter if it's 60,000 or 300,000. 15%.
Minimum. Yeah.
Ideally, I mean, now let's talk about if you're bringing in 3 million. I mean, I'm sorry, if you have a $3 million net worth. Okay, so we break that math down 10% off of the 3 million of annual income, which will be 300,000 a year, right? So you can take that 300,000 divided by 12. That's your monthly 25K. To some people, they may say 10% is too much. Well, here's the real thing. We're still investing a portion of that 10%. So it's really more like 6 or 5% that we're actually using to live on out of that 10% annual um, money that's coming out of that $3 million net worth. But same math, right? So at 25K, if you're talking about 15% going towards discretionary, well, now we're at 3750 a month for discretionary. That sounds better, right?
Yeah. No. A whole lot better. I guess in my head, this is what I'm wrestling with, honestly. Okay, so I'm wrestling with, and y'all might have answered this question, but my mind is drawing a blank as you guys continue to explain this. So, what was was there a crossroad in your life that made you get this disciplined? I mean, like for a lot of times, usually people they have something happen. Some
Uh,
happens, and like something big happens. I don't know if I'm pressing on the nerve. I don't want
you
to
got
press
to
on the
answer
nerve,
for it. You
but
got to answer
usually
for it.
there's something big that happens that drives a person to go, you know what? I'm fed up with this. I'm fed up with the situation I'm in. I'm gonna go all in on making this happen. Was there a situation like that, or was it just like, hey,
It
we gonna
was for
stop?
me.
Me too.
Well, so I started I became a police officer in 2008. From 2008 to let's see what I think it was almost 2016. So like the first 8 years, man, I wasted those first 8 to 9 years of my career. And when I look back on how much opportunity I missed out on, that hurt. Because I look at what we're invested in now and the gains that were missed out on during that time frame if we were disciplined. I mean, again, I didn't meet her until 17, but that it goes back to, I wish I knew what I know now. But they always how's that saying go? The next best time to start is now, right? So, that's what did it for me. After I realized how much I missed out on, all the opportunity I missed out on, man, I said, I'm not missing it this time. Now that I know better, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Type talk, So, but yeah, and also just knowing the lifestyle. Like we still have time on our side. We're still young enough to where compound interest can do its thing for us. We're having to be a lot more aggressive now than what we see. That's what I was saying before. If you start sooner, you don't have to be as aggressive. That's why, like when I come across young individuals in their 20s that are in a line of work where I know they're making the income, you know, uh,
Try to catch them early.
man, like, and they don't have to be as aggressive.
Right.
Meaning they don't have to invest as much that we're investing, because we're almost like almost like if you want to call it playing catch up by investing as much money as we are investing, and that's only because we're sacrificing in order to invest that type of money, which
And
is
so
like,
and so and so when you say that, I guess that kind of what
yeah,
I was saying earlier, just in a sense of like you guys might be a little heavier. Now here's the deal: you're playing catch up on your terms. You're not. I
right,
know for
right,
sure
right,
y'all not
right,
playing catch up to the 65-year-old limit. It seemed
yeah,
like y'all trying to play catch up to retire within the next 4 years, maybe if that's the level
yeah,
of catch up. But it's just I think that's kind of where it's at. What I was saying is just that, hey, and I think y'all have said this before, depending on how aggressive your goals are, then that would kind of steer what your disciplines look like. That would steer, what those sacrifices might look like. And so I'm sorry, I think we might have jumped off before y'all were finishing the thought. I know Alexis, maybe you wanted to kind of tag in on that question too.
Well, you asked what happened, what's the
right.
drive or the why behind, like why we're so disciplined. And for me, it was my upbringing. And if I look back generation after generation, it's the same thing, the same story. So there's nothing wrong with any of the generations before me, but I want to be better. So I want to end that generational curse of poverty. Um, I don't want for things, and the people who come after me, I don't want them to want, and I want them to learn financial literacy. So for me, it's about changing the game.
And being an example,
Right.
being an example, that you can really make this happen if you sacrifice, if you make your mind up that this is something that you desire to have. um we're the example. We will be the example. We are the example.
Mhm.
And man, again, man, it all depends on that individual. I know for me and us, the ultimate luxury is your time back, being truly financially free. I don't know a lot of folks that truly have the.
Mhm.
So
No,
that's a
no,
ultimate
I,
luxury.
I think you're absolutely right. I appreciate y'all's transparency and answering those questions. I know sometimes we don't like to be forthcoming about some of the things that happen in our lives, but I think in you guys' journey, being honest like you guys are is incredible. So thank you y'all for that. Now I know we wanted to touch on social mindsets or social financial mindsets, social class mindsets rather. And so, can you guys maybe speak into, what does that mean? Can you define that for the audience and then kind of break that down for us?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit on that. I'll let her take over after me. But so we categorize it as three mindsets. Poor, middle class, or actually four:
Yeah.
poor, middle class, rich, and wealthy. Poor, middle class, rich, and wealthy.
Mhm.
Okay. And to be honest with you, all of them are really just a mindset. Their mindset. So when you're poor, you may that's a situation that, in my opinion, is it's a mindset. It's a poor mindset. Like, you don't have to be poor if you don't want to. You may be born poor, but you don't have to stay poor. I think if you stay poor, like literally poor, it's only because it's not what you're choosing to your mind is you're choosing to stay poor in your mind, right? Okay. So with middle class folks, I feel like just one tier above poor, by the way. You're just And then to be honest, man, the middle class today is almost diminished when you think about it. It's the wealth gap is so huge now. I don't even know if you could really put people in that category. I mean, they're almost. I'm trying to be careful with how I phrase it, man. I don't want to.
No, you've been spicy all episode. You've been on your best boss talk this whole episode. I like it.
I mean, a lot of people that look middle class really are poor. I'm gonna just say it. They poor, man. They got a lot of things that they can't truly afford. They think, like I said earlier, they think they can afford it because they make that money, but they're robbing themselves of categorizing that money or allocating that money in the right categories.
Mhm.
So, you know, but it's a mindset. Is my point. Being wealthy is a mindset. All of them are mindset based, right? Um, you want to speak on some of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as like poor, poor people, they're just living day to day. It's like survival mode. So it's like, what do I have to do to go ahead?
And I want to clarify for the audience. I want to make sure my people are not saying like I don't think I'm hearing y'all say poor literally like you ain't got no money in the bank and you don't make no money, but more so just the way you go about living your life. I know you said it several times, JP. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. But like I don't want the sting to come across like y'all dusty because you ain't got no money. And I don't think, cause I know that's definitely not what y'all are saying. So I just wanted to make sure that hey, it's the way you are thinking and approaching the money. You could be making
Yes.
$1 million a year and be poor the way you
Yeah.
handle it. You
That's
know?
my point. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Sorry, go ahead. I apologize for breaking in. I just
Uh,
wanted to throw that in there.
Okay. So again, poor people are living day to day. They're just trying to figure it out and survive. They're in survival mode. Middle class, they're living month to month. So, okay, I got to do everything I can do to make sure that the rent is paid on the first. I may have some late fees. It's still kind of survival. Like you were saying, they're kind of starting to mesh in today's economy. Um, and also, let me get my notes. The poor people believe that the purpose of money is just to pay bills, like I said. Middle class, they believe that the purpose of money is to buy things that they want or that make them look good, like we mentioned earlier, um, like stunting, basically. And then rich is living year to year. So you're getting a little bit more wisdom if you're rich. But wealthy is the best mindset to have because that's figuring out how to make your money work for you, um, and figuring out also how to live generation to generation. So you're not only focused on you're not only focused on your household or your immediate family, you're thinking way in advance.
Wow. Okay. Would do you guys have any like I mean, I guess maybe tangible things to talk about when you're talking about some people can't think past month to month. Some people can't think past day to day. I know we're talking about that mindset piece, but like what's a wealth play in you guys' mind? Outside of the percentages pieces that we are talking about, if I'm of a person who has that mindset, what are some things that I'm focusing on? What are some things that I would be looking at specifically?
Um, I think you're gonna say
Mhm.
education, which I would say that as well, but also figuring out how to increase your income. So, I mean, I think COVID taught us that we're not in a box. You can think outside the box. You can become have an entrepreneurial spirit, and still work your 9 to 5. So there's things that you can do on the side in your free time that can generate income. So just figuring out ways to increase your income is what I would say.
And I mean, and wealth, true wealth is defined by time, right? Like meaning if I just sit right here, if I don't move from this table, how wealthy am I? Well, how much money will be coming in without me having to go out and actually go earn it? That's how I define how wealthy I am. So I think that's a good question people can ask themselves. If I just sit still, how much income is still going to come in to be able to provide the lifestyle that I currently have? In most cases, most people probably have a deficit. They don't have enough coming in passively where they can sustain the current lifestyle. So your wealth to me defines how, based on the passive income that you have coming in, defines your wealth. How wealthy are you? It defines how wealthy you are. So that's an exercise people can do. You know, how wealthy am I if I just sit here and don't move for the whole month, or you know,
How long
how
can I
yeah, however
last?
long. I mean, you know, if we're going to base, you know, our monthly, you know, it's monthly expenses, right? That most people have. So, and then also, how long can I sit here? I may be able to get by a couple months. Like my wealth may only go for a couple months. Some people don't have investments that generate, you know, revenue or cash flow. They may just have, you know, I don't know, like a fixed income that is depleting.
Yeah, like a savings or
Yeah,
something else also.
you know, um, just something to think about, you know,
But it definitely
because
starts there. There's things
yeah,
that you can do. Like I said, we did. Like some people are going out to brunch every weekend. They buying bottles and going out to clubs, just putting on for other people. Or like if they want to get married, they want to have this big extravagant wedding that they need help paying for, or it's taking everything to be able to pay for and make their guests smile. Um, we went to Vegas to a chapel, just the two of us got married because our minds were focused on the bigger picture. Like after the wedding, there's a marriage. And I think that we put more emphasis on the marriage than we did on the wedding. So there's just in every arena we sacrifice.
No, that's awesome. I want to just applaud you guys so very much. Number one, for just being willing to share. Number two, the caliber of content that you guys have shared today has been incredible. The comfort level that you guys have on camera is impeccable. The chemistry that exists between the two of you guys is infectious. I hope if you guys are watching this on YouTube, or even you should be able to hear it when you listen to these guys talk. I'm amazed each time I have the opportunity to be able to just interact with them. Thank you guys so very much for coming on the TPE today. I don't take for granted y'all's time, and I don't want to hold you much longer. It's getting late in the evening. But no, thank you guys so much, and please let us know where we can find you before we conclude.
marriage, money, and mindset on YouTube, marriage, money, and mindset on IG.
Let's get our peeps to 1,000 subs. We need that. We need 1,000 subscribers for my people here. They're worth it. And don't take it from me. Go check the page out for yourself. Go check the content out for yourself. I think it will speak for itself. They got good short form content now on Shorts and on Instagram. If you don't want to consume the whole deal, you go get you a nugget or two. Between the main courses. And so I appreciate you guys, TPE family. We got another one. We got another great episode with these guys. And until next time, guys, peace.
Peace.
Here's my love.